Federal Republic of Nigeria. Intention is to promote cooperation in the development of youth on the basis of reciprocity, mutual understanding, and benefits. Government officials and all relevant experts in order to achieve best practice on youth development program. Second, extension of invitations to conference of seminars, exchange of information of youth matters. Six, increase of cooperation between youth organizations of both countries. Seventh, other youth cooperation activities agreed upon by the parties. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic situation and the change the nomenclature, the Ministry of Youth Development to Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport Development of Nigeria, the MOU is still pending to be signed. In my opinion, we cannot, I believe, and this is not only so many programs we can create. For example, Indonesia already done e-Formula, Photo GP, and international junior badminton, world tour, and the total price US dollar 1,250,000. So the program plan of coach for soccer game and badminton exchange is very important because we know that Nigeria has many good soccer coaches or players and Indonesia is good in badminton. I think reciprocal action can be done for the next. So I am still welcoming and encouraging the delegation from Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport, Development Nigeria to Indonesia to have final touch on this MOU. Indonesia is also playing an important role in the ASEAN region and improve the soft power to create stabilization in the region. I heard before some speaker mentioned about the entertainment. This is also very important. Minister of Tourism and Economic of Creative of Indonesia also mentioned about the film and will have idea to cooperate with Hollywood is very, very popular. So we proud of that. And also the singer-song, is very popular. I heard that the Nigerian singer is very, very a good voice. I just know the song, I took my money, I don't care. It's very good. Everybody knows the song. Everybody knows the song. We have invited Minister Economic Creative of Nigeria as well, but unfortunately not able to come because we need to discuss about the tourism. And today, more than 20% from Kano in Indonesia, in the, we call it Garut City, they business buying, and they also make create cooperation for the business between Nigeria and Indonesia. So several months ago, I am an ambassador, Indonesian ambassador for Nigeria, very proud because I am the biggest number ever to bring the Nigerian businessmen to Indonesia around the world. almost 80 businessmen came to Indonesia and they make their business transaction. So the Minister of Trade gave a word to us as well. Yeah, this very make me proud as ambassador here, a success to make the cooperation Nigeria and Indonesia running properly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you very much.
Proposition, and I've said to myself that after this session, I will approach His Excellency Chief Odebami and the three speakers and run this idea through them. But before I go into that, let me say good afternoon to His Excellency the Deputy Governor of Lagos State here present, and the DG, and all excellencies and ladies and gentlemen. Now, what do I mean by testing grounds? It's really an amazing phenomenon, right, to adopt that sports is indeed, right, a super medium in achieving development, unity, friendship, cooperation, economic development, youth development, self-empowerment, you know, all these positive aspects. They're amazing. And I'm just going to round up by saying that in my capacity as the Honorary Consul to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, you all know Trinidad and Tobago, when it comes to culture and entertainment, it's very strong on the ground. And currently they have a special department in Trinidad and Tobago. They call them the three TTs, and that's the using the cultural arts, using arts and entertainment as a means of developing and providing jobs, etc. And it's called the TT Music, the TT Fashion, and the TT Film. And very soon, for the entertainment, people in the entertainment industry, at the end of this year, you're going to see a release of a film between presenting that has been put. I coined it here, and I said West African Caribbean Sports and Culture Festival. It's something we can actually put together to test the grounds. And from my end, it is doable, right? And I think if we sit down and plan it well, we can do it. So the West African Caribbean, the entire Caribbean country, let's have a sports and cultural entertainment festival. And what will happen, we'll see a demonstration of how the TT steel pan and the African drums, right, can contribute greatly in our sports. Why do I say that? Supporters Club in sports, what do they play? Drums, right? So, in the Caribbean end, we use the steel pan. It's just a concept we can really build and have it as a testing ground. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. You are Tambo Airport and terminated at Pretoria. So, you are going to see, for us to be able to do this, we have to collaborate with agencies across our border. If you go to the Seme border now, you see a joint border facility built by the EU for the Nigerian and the Benin border management guidance, where we can see people move seamlessly. I'm glad to hear that that's already happening at the ECOC border as well, because people are going to move not only by air, but they're going to move by every means available. I don't know if you remember that when Nigeria was playing the Republic about a year ago, the Nigerian team actually left Nigeria on a boat and arrived in the Republic, and that was just a bilateral match. You are going to see a lot of that happen if we're hosting the World Cup. How do we control? How do we do passport control? What kind of admissibility requirements do we want? How do we know that this man is a fan and not a terrorist? How do we externalize our borders and collaborate with border agencies in Nigeria, in Niger, in Benin Republic, because it is a global affair? Somebody's going to take up. I've seen people walk to the World Cup and say, well, the World Cup is happening in December, but I'm going to leave my country in July, and I'm going to walk from my country to the destination of the World Cup. How do you issue that kind of visa? Does Nigeria have a visa classification that can be just for the duration of the World Cup? So these are the things we need to look at as we look at not only the infrastructure capabilities, but also the back-end things like hospitality management. How would I be able to bring my passport from Indonesia, from China, and say I want to lodge in an hotel in Nigeria, and I won't feel harassed in any way? How do I come to Nigeria from the Republic, from Cote d'Ivoire, and know that aside the ECOWAS protocol on free movement of people, goods, and services, there is a provision for me to be able to enjoy the World Cup. So there is a bit of creative intentionality that is required here, and then connectedness of thinking. We must not focus only on the people who. Thank you. I know. Thank you. Okay. So the point is that we must create now, as we're sitting down and thinking about this. It's very important, but we must think about the logic of securing our borders, the logic of admissibility, the logic of human migration from the point of view of mass migration now, where you see 30,000 people want to watch the Benin Republic come and play China at Surulere. How do you manage that, and how do you ensure that not only can they enjoy themselves, but it can also achieve the security of lives and property? Just to give you a bit of numbers, Nigerian music industry did $44 million as at last year, 2021. But the movie industry counts that with 6.4 billion. Now, what events are we going to organize to ensure that anybody from all over the world can look forward to not only the football, but also the entertainment part of it? The reason is because your country is going to be knocked out. It's either you win or you learn at the World Cup. What happens when you lose at the semi-final or at the quarter-final? Then you can retire to Lashe Beach, you can go to Landmark. If you are in Calabar, you can go anywhere. So all of this has to be orchestrated. So the issue for us now in terms of detailing immigration management, visa management, border friendliness, security and safety. How do we ensure that at all our borders, the border guardians are well trained, they are courteous, they have the appropriate technology to be able to say, Oga, sorry, this is Nigeria, you're carrying cocaine and you have to be sent back. And then we have to be able to negotiate with a lot of other players in the international industry. Let me end with this. The Office of Serious Crime in the United Kingdom actually manages football, some aspects of football. They have a database of football thugs that will never be allowed to leave the United Kingdom if the United Kingdom is playing the match anywhere. So you present your passport at a point of departure, and the guy swipes it and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, you won't be able to travel. You are a thug." It's that simple. Nigeria must get to that point at all our airports, at all our border points, where we can not only network with agencies that have that kind of intelligence, but then provide the enabling technologies for us to be able to say, this is Nigeria. We welcome everybody who's come to enjoy themselves in World Cup, but we're also able to say no to people who are terrorists, are thugs, or people who are not going to add value to the global spectacle that the World Cup is. On that note, I want to say thank you for your time.
without a script, to listen to what people have to say about the vision that we have. And I'm glad I did, because all I will do now really is to thank everybody for coming and to tell a little story, because this journey has been long in coming. After the 2002 World Cup in Japan, Korea, it was a new idea at the time for more than one country to host the biggest and most lucrative single event in the world. There was a lot of criticism about more than one country hosting the World Cup at the time, to such an extent that when everybody was leaving Japan, Korea, the idea for more than one country to host the World Cup had been dispensed with. Nobody was going to talk about it. And suddenly, I am sitting in front of Mr. Sepp Blatter in his office in Zurich with the Minister of Sports from Nigeria and the gentleman who is sitting here today, who is a witness. The only other witness apart from Walter Gard, the head of the technical department of FIFA. He's here. There please stand up. Let them see you. Evidence. 4 of us sat in Mr. Blatter's office. And Mr. Blatter says, what brings you gentlemen from Nigeria to Zurich? And the minister says, Shegun, tell him. This was the minister asking me to tell Mr. Blatter what he had been sent by the federal government of Nigeria to tell him. I knew where he was going because it was such a bad idea. He could not deliver the message himself. So I had to do the talking. And I told Mr. Blatter about us coming from Nigeria. He knows the story of West Africa. He knows the story of Africa. We're not doing well as Africans. There is a World Cup coming up in 2010. And we have an idea. So yes, what's the idea? So in our history, we had founding political fathers who had a dream for Africa. An Africa that was not developed, an Africa that was enslaved. This dream is that we could wake up in the morning in Lagos and drive to Dakar, drive to Lome, drive to Ghana, and spend the weekend. We could enter the train from Douala and it would take us to Monrovia. We could travel across the whole West Africa without being afraid of anybody harassing us. We wanted a region where you have one visa, you could travel to all the countries in West Africa without bothering to get a second one. We wanted to be like you in Europe. I looked at his face and I saw he had started to listen. I said, look, we have a dream. We've had it for 40 years that in our region we will have one currency. We will have one airline. We would have this, we would have that. I just went on and on and on. And at the end of the day, I knew the question he wanted to ask me is that, look, do you know where you are? This is FIFA. This is FIFA. The only business we do here is football. And since you started your long sermon, you have not even mentioned the word football once. By the time you all were coming here, we were talking of 2034. And if you listen to all the speeches that have been given, nobody has really spoken about football. Mr. Platter, the least thing we want to discuss with you here is not football. That's the least thing we want to discuss with you, football. We want to discuss with you the development of our region, the development of our people, the advancement of our people, our release from enslavement, from colonialism, to develop all our tourism potentials, to do this and to do that. But you are in the wrong place. You are in FIFA. This is football. I say, well, that's why we are here. We want you to give us the FIFA World Cup of 2010. Because football has the power to deliver all of those things that we have listed for you. The man said, this is the most brilliant, the most imaginative idea I've heard about the World Cup. People are saying that don't do joint hosting. But I have come to say let 5 countries in West Africa. They need it for their own development. They need it for regional integration. They need it to be a model for the rest of the country, that things can work. They need it because when it comes to the time when we are going to discuss at the table of civilization, where we are now, that we foresaw in 2002, we want to go there as one voice, with a common purpose, and people who have earned the place on that table of conversation. We cannot go there by economic development alone. We cannot go there by, how do they go there? We can go there with the tools that we have. Politically, we have been down for 5 centuries. Economically, as a people, we have been down for that long. Mentally, we are not even prepared to wait here and be equal with you on that table. But what we have is what Tobi Amusan has demonstrated for us. What Bona Boy is demonstrating for us. What J.T. Okocha has shown the world we are capable of doing. What we are doing in technology, in the arts, in science, and so on and so forth. Those are the tools that we have. We want you to give us the FIFA 2010 World Cup to support us for that region to host it. Mr. Blatter got up and he said, look, if your government can make that proposal, I, said Blatter, will back it. Because this is a good project. That was in 2002. We came back to Nigeria and the sports media descended on us as if the world was going to end. That was a 7-year project. 2002, the World Cup was going to be in 2010. And they shut it down so badly that the man who sent us there, who set up a committee to initiate the project, who let it run for 10 months, where we consulted with the governments of the 5 countries on the West Coast, 5 countries, from Cameroon, to Togo to Benin, to Ghana. The presidents were celebrating that this was what we were looking for. This was the opportunity that makes sense. The Ghana president got up, gave me a hug, and he said, if I'm your president, I will make you an ambassador today. That was the president of Ghana. This was something that was embraced in West Africa. But we shut it down in Nigeria because we just did not believe. We did not see it. We did not see the opportunities. We did not think that we could do it. Nigerians can do anything. Nigerians can do anything. 20 years on. 20 years on. If this is not evident for us, or evidence for us enough, nothing will ever be. In the year 20, we have seen Qatar this year. In the year 2026, 2 of the biggest economies in the world are coming together to team up with the third to host that same World Cup. USA, Canada, and Mexico are coming together to do what we said, oh, that's a bad idea. In 2030, all the bids for the 2030 World Cup are regional. 5 countries in South America, 5 countries in Asia. Even Europe hosted the European Cup with 11 countries. Since then, 11 countries hosted the European Cup of Nations. So it is not rocket science. We pioneered the idea 20 years ago. 20 years on, it is time for us to sit and look at that instrument which Nelson Mandela said has the power to change the world. For us to look at it differently and add to it that assembly that is what these all black people in the world have been looking for too long. For us to come together. If we don't come together, we are doomed as black people. We have to come together. We have not succeeded since 1977. Now we have an opportunity to come together. That's why we are teaming up. Festac, that's culture with sport. Festac will bring together all black people on earth to the ceremony. Every year,